So now let's move on to the main riff. After that part, they go right into what I'm going to call the chorus riff because it's used throughout in the chorus and in a couple other spots. So this is a different preset for me, but the same chain. Let's first break this down. I'm using first a para EQ in here to boost the mids of my guitar to try to make it sound like a Gretsch. It doesn't work entirely. I'm not saying there's a para EQ in the guitar chain, it's just what I use. So if I turn that off, and there is a double delay in this part of the section, we again just start with the basic guitar, and that is this. So we're going to add the para EQ. Here's the difference in tone. Now we're going to add the double delay. This is 2 delays in parallel, and it sounds like this. It's not perfect, might be a little more dirt in there, a little more drive. I'm still working on the tone, but those are the basics. So let's go through the delay settings. I'm going to post a couple clips in here in the video, and you take a listen, and you're going to notice there are 2 delays. The first delay is very subtle. The first delay is that you hear is when you strike a note. It is what I believe about an 8th note. Let me play this with just one note, and you'll hear the delay. So dot 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 dot. You'll notice the first delay is only in the beginning and augments the first, and it makes it bouncier and gives it an initial punch. That's the 8th note, and it's only 1 or 2 repeats. Then there's a dotted 8th note that is a longer delay, and it has more repeats, so it goes longer. So let's take out the 8th note. If you take out the 8th note, you get this. And you can play the riff with this. It sounds pretty good. So that's pretty decent, but it's missing something. It's missing that initial attack. It's missing that bounce. So I believe there's another delay there to give it that punch, to give it that bounce. Let's listen to 2 or 3 clips, live clips of The Edge from some of the recent gigs they've done. Okay, in a couple of those clips, you notice the dotted 8th note trails off, and you only hear 1 delay. But at the beginning, there is a bouncy attack of a 2nd delay, and I believe that's that's an 8th note in just 1 or 2 repeats. Here's what the single delay, the 8th note sounds like. It sounds like this. You put that together, and that's mixed in lower at about 65%. The other one's about 100%, and it's only 1 or 2 repeats, the 8th note. Okay, but now let's bring up the entire delay with the dotted 8th in there. Dun, 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 dun. It's got that really nice bounce. This only works if you put them in parallel. if you put this in series, the 8th note is going to go off twice. Let's say there's 2 repeats. 1 to 2 repeats, meaning you're going to have 2 to 3 notes, the original note and the first and second repeat. If that hits the dotted 8th note, the dotted 8th note delay is going to repeat every single one of the first delays. So you'll end up with 2 repeats on the longer notes. So what do I mean by that? Let's try it out. I'm going to turn off, on the dotted 8th note, I'm turning off on the double delay, I'm going to turn off the 8th note, okay? And I'm going to add the 8th note on a separate delay in front of it. So now I've got 8th note delay to dotted 8th note delay. Here's the dotted 8th note. Now here's the 8th note. Now if we put those in series together, the 8th into the dotted 8th, you get this. Da 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 da. If you listen to those clips I posted, I don't believe that you hear da 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 continuously. You only hear one delay, but there is 2 delays at the beginning. So, in other words, going back, if you do them in parallel and have the first delay be the dotted 8th note, louder and longer repeats, you get this. Add in the 8th note delay with a couple repeats, you get this. So the 8th note was only there for a little bit and it went away. And then the riff sounds like this. That note, when you hold that note, you can hear the edge when he does it. You'll only hear one delay in the long term, but there is definitely a second delay in there that kicks it off. So there's a comparison of a 8th note into a dotted 8th note, and an 8th note and a dotted 8th note in parallel. And again, my theory is Edge has them mixed in parallel.